Well, I must thank Dr. Amardeep, Dr. Gaurav Luthra and Shivam for having me here and giving this privilege. And really appreciate the effort of Drishti to sort of educate everybody about MIGS so that they can start their journey. Well, talking about stenting the angle is a topic given to me. iStent or trabecular bypass micro stent was introduced in India in 2021 September. And what we are talking about today is the second generation iStent. The first generation was a single stent, and that is what we use now is the second generation, that is 2 stents. And what we use precisely now is iStent Inject W. So I'll be talking a little about these. These are the parts of iStent Inject. Here you have this flange. This is the flange, and this is the opening that goes into the Schlemm's canal. The central outlet is around 80 microns, and these peripheral outlets that go into the Schlemm's canal are around 50 microns each. And this neck sits into the trabecular meshwork, or thorax region sits into the trabecular meshwork region, and then this is the flange which is visible in the anterior chamber, and that's how the flow happens. Well, when we are talking about iStent Inject W, the only difference is this flange is wider. Instead of 230 microns, now it is 360, so that we don't have over implantation. This is how the injector system looks like. I think everybody has seen that yesterday when we did the workshop. So there is a blue button here which is to retract the sleeve. There's a black button there which is the stent delivery button, and then there's a micro insertion sleeve and trocar. And if you look at the tip of the injector, this is how it looks like. So these two stents are threaded onto the trocar, and then you have the sleeve, and then this is a push tube through which when you press the black button, it gets injected. When we talk about the indications, I think enough has been said that mild and moderate open angle glaucoma is the ideal situation. You can use it in pseudo exfoliation and pigmentary glaucomas as well, and ideally used with cataract surgery. Those are the indications for iStent. This is the learning curve. I think Dr. Amit has really explained about how you need to understand how to work under high magnification. You need to work under a rotation of 30 degrees of patients at that side, a microscope towards your side. So your position of operating is little different than what you do in a regular cataract or trap surgeries. And you need to learn to manage with one hand, because one hand is used to support your gonio lens. So what happens in a routine position, this is how you operate in a routine position. When you have to operate with a tilt, you can look at my elbows, they get really extended. So you need to understand that is how the working distance changes. And with some adjustments in your eyepieces and all, you can optimize it a bit better so that you don't have too long a working distance because it becomes too awkward. So that is the optimized position you can use. To adjust your position, you need to really work under high magnification, because these are the dimensions. If you look at the Schlemm's canal in a POAG is less than 200 microns, the widest diameter. So you have to work under that space. So you need to really work high magnification. How high is high? Phacoemulsification you usually use 4 to 8x magnification. For goniotomies and bang, you're around 13 to 15, but iStent you need more than 15x. So it's really high magnification under which you need to work. So your hands have to be very stable, the movements have to be very limited, so that otherwise it gets magnified because you're working under high magnification. One hand is used to hold the lens, although we do have lenses which do not require much support with the other hand. But yes, you're largely working with one hand. And you need to learn how to optimize your visualization, that the blood should not go inside, your prism should not move much, otherwise you have blood seeping in or the air bubble seeping in, which obliterates your view. So that's important, and you need to control the egress of viscoelastic, so you have to be gentle. You should not be pushing your incision too much, because if there is egress of viscoelastic, again you lose your view and you get corneal folds. So those are the things that you need to take care. Just a small clip on how we actually do an iStent Inject. I generally prefer to do it after cataract surgery. This is how the tip looks like. Before you go in, you should retract the sleeve and see that the stents are in place and you're familiar with the tip of the iStent. And then here, in a situation where I'm doing is the already pseudophakic patient, so I'm using a pilocarpine and I've just used 2 side ports. So this is the high viscoelastic, high density viscoelastic that I'm using. Once you've focused your view, you should increase the magnification and make sure that you're seeing well. This is when I retract the sleeve, and as you approach the trabecular meshwork, a little indent on that and that is when you press the black button and keep the button pressed as you come out and release only once you see the instant implanted. Then you go to 2-3 clock hours away and implant the second one. Initially, if you find it difficult, you can come out and readjust your position and do that. Subsequently, when you get comfortable, it is really simple to do it in one go. If you want to see that egress of blue veins, you can inject the Trypan Blue, and here you can see the filling of veins with Trypan Blue. So that you should do it before removing all viscoelastic, otherwise the dye would not go into the veins. After that, you can remove the viscoelastics, and then once you hydrate the pots, you can actually even see the blanching. This is a microscope with anterior segment ASOCT, so that you can see the elevation of the conjunctiva as well. And you should always perform gonioscopy looking at the stents post-op. This is the first post-op day, and this is subsequent. So if there's a small blood, that automatically disappears. So this is how the technique was. Now, what are the challenges that can happen intraoperatively? They can be bleeding from the angle, there can be shifting of focus, shallowing of anterior chamber, bleeding on the surface, and there can be under and over implantation of the stent. So rest of the things we discussed, I just wanted to show you how to deal with if there is suboptimal implantation of the eye stent. Intraoperatively, you can have multiple scenarios. These are some of the videos that time when I was learning eye stent. So if here I'm injecting the first eye stent, and this is not the W, I think this is the eye stent inject. So I did an over implantation because I can't see the flange very well, but I can see the eye stent. So I went ahead and did the second one because unless you have the second one, you can't remove the other one also. So here I'm just trying to retract the trabecular meshwork or Schlemm's canal wall with the any instrument, and that worked, so I didn't have to remove it. This is another stent where first inject stent has gone all right, but the second stent is something where there was some struggle. You can see there is a loss of view, and it was not very well implanted, so I just pushed it with the iris depositor, and that fit into the place. So very simple. Now this is one which I was telling you yesterday, that if you release the black button immediately, you hear the click. This is how the stent will come back to you near the incision. So I removed that and re-threaded the eye stent into the trocar, and then you can inject the same way. As you have 4 clicks in each injector and you have only 2 stents, so you can use the third and the fourth click in case you have to remove and put it back again, or if it is not gone. This is the place where I have implanted one eye stent almost at the scleral spur and not at the trabecular meshwork. So I was not happy with that. So I removed that because this is not going to work. This is going to be useless. So you have to remove it. It's very simple to remove with a microscope. Use a sponge so that it doesn't slip. Rethread it and inject it back as you would do for the first time procedure. Sometimes there can be post-operative challenges like blood or synechia formation or high IOP in the early phase. If you develop a synechia, which happens very rarely, but it has happened to me once, that after few weeks of eye stent, when I was looking at the gonio, you can see the one eye stent is closed by the synechia. So what do you do there? There are 2 ways. Either you can YAG it, but here I was not able to see the whole stent, so I took the patient under topical anesthesia the same day. And you just need to look at the angle, and I just used a simple iris depositor to release those synechia. Here you can see that. So sometimes if the inflammation is there post-operatively, they tend to attract the iris because it's a low pressure zone created by the hole of the eye stent. So you just retract the iris, and then in this patient I had to use post-operative pilocarpine after I release the synechia. I generally don't use it, but this patient did well after, it's been long now, and that gets sorted. So coming to the outcomes, there have been enough literature to tell us there is a significant drop in the intraocular pressure. My own experience is very limited, around 32 cases or 35 cases now, and an average drop of from 15.7 on meds, on 2 meds to 12 on 0 meds. Some patients are up to 32 months follow-up, but the average follow-up is around 6 months. The only complication I had that I showed you, the synechia formation post-operatively. So this is an elegant procedure with excellent safety profile, reduces intraocular pressure and allows reduction in medication, useful in mild to moderate glaucoma along with cataract surgeries, and studies have shown the disease stability, so definitely it's an elegant procedure, but most importantly should be used for appropriate indications. Thank you for your kind attention.